Hello. Today's video is called Know Thy Impact, and this is a quotation from Professor John Hattie. He wrote Visible Learning and Visible Learning for Teachers. And the point of these books is to engage with the research in education and work out what works. And fundamental to that process is you as a teacher researching your own teaching. And how do you do that? Well, every school that I know of has a data collection system which is based around predicted grades, which have probably come from the Family Fisher Trust. And you will have those grades available somewhere. You will be able to download them, and you will be able to compare the grades that your students got compared to what they were predicted. More importantly, you will also have access somewhere in your school to how other teachers did with similar classes. And then you can start comparing the effect of your teaching compared to theirs. Know thy impact. So this video is about why that's important.
Okay, well, what else can the data tell us about expectations? Well, the research constantly refers to within school variation. In other words, the progress you would get with one teacher compared to another. And the research says something very surprising. It says that the variation between teachers in a school is much greater than the variation between schools themselves. So I went to the league tables and found the school that had the lowest progress in Gloucestershire. So again, this isn't to victimise the school, it's simply available in the league tables, and I needed the school with the lowest progress in order to compare it to the progress at our school. So Gloucester Academy in 2013 had this progress for English and this level of progress for maths. And when you look at that in Chipping Campden, you can see that there's a very close difference of 40% between the two schools. So the research predicts that at Chipping Campden School there will be greater than a 40% difference in progress between classes, and if we could reduce that difference, we would dramatically improve our school results. Well, I found it very difficult to find a fair way of doing this. One way would have just been to have taken the class with the lowest progress and compared it to the class with the highest, but that wouldn't be fair. We know from research and Family Fisher Trust predictions that students predicted A grades find it far easier to make progress than students predicted D's or C grades. So it wouldn't be appropriate to set the progress of a bottom set against a top set. Instead, I just picked a top set, and I picked K1 because K1 is filled with the best scientists and mathematicians usually, and so any class that comes from K1 is likely to be filled with similar students of similar ability within the top set range. And what I found was fascinating. So in the top class in K1 in the school, students 3 levels of progress were 113% of the prediction. In other words, they completely outperformed the 3 levels of progress, and they were 791% higher than the 4 levels of progress. So only 6% were predicted 4 levels of progress, and 47% got it. None were predicted 5 levels, and nearly 7% got it. When I compared this to the lowest performing K1 group, we found that 78 or 79% made 3 levels of progress, which isn't an atrocious figure. It's below target, it's not atrocious, but it's a massive 34% below what this other class was achieving, very close to the 40% difference between Gloucester Academy and our own. But then when we look at the 4 levels of progress, which of course a top set, many of them should be getting, we can see that the target here was 60%, and they got only 34%. And the difference, therefore, between this figure and this one is over 700%. You can see how dramatically the influence of one teacher has been over another. And that difference has to be about the teacher's expectations. Now the reason I've included this is Hattie's 11th commandment, know thy impact. If you've not been on CISRA and looked at the results of your class, and if you've not been on CISRA and looked at the results of other teachers teaching a similar class, you've no idea how well your students have done compared to how they could have done. If you're not in charge of the data of your class, you're not really aware of how effective your teaching is. And so my number one message, whatever system you have in your school for examining results, is look at the value added for your class, compare it to other teachers teaching similar kids, and work out what it is that they're doing that you're not, or what it is you're doing that they're not, that you could share with them. And if we can get this right in schools, if teachers take responsibility for working out what they're doing brilliantly and what they need to improve on, everybody will get better. And I'm including that here in my video about modelling because it's about modelling your expectations. And if you raise those expectations, you start to accelerate students and they perform brilliantly. You don't have to become a better teacher to do that. You just have to change the way you think about your students' progress. So what is the difference between high and low performing teachers? Well, it isn't classroom management actually in their behaviour. You'll see many teachers with excellent classroom management who have indifferent progress in their classes. Have a look at the data, you'll find that's true. It isn't how hard we work. I'm very lucky to work at Chipping Campden School. It's very difficult to find a teacher who is not working hard enough. You simply don't look around the staff room and see slackers. We could probably each pick maybe one name or two, and in my experience that's incredibly rare. In fact, it is the best school I've ever taught in for the level of work that teachers do. But that isn't what's making the difference between high and low performing. It also isn't experience. If you look at the results of classes and compare it to whether teachers have gone through the upper pay spine, for example, you'll find that there isn't a correlation necessarily between experience and excellent progress. It's this, according to Hattie. It's the expectations when they, or we, decide what to teach and at what level of difficulty and their understanding of progress. And the key here is expectations. If you want your students to do better, you have to start expecting more of them. Not doing more teaching, not working harder, just expecting more from your teaching. And a fundamental way of doing that is finding out the teachers who are doing what you're doing, but better. And find out what it is they do. Because none of it will be rocket science, and all of it will be ideas that you can steal and replicate. And that definition from Hattie is what I call the need to learn curriculum. We give students what they need to learn in order for them to master difficulty and in order for them to progress. So change from a curriculum that might be need to know, delivered in bite-sized chunks, to one that shows the whole picture and accelerates students through it. So if this has been helpful, please like the video and refer it to somebody. If not, good luck with the next one.